Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Herders. My name is Nick.
I'm Rich.
And today we are discussing the hugely anticipated,
Yeah.
hotly awaited,
Something like that.
massively exciting
It's being talked about a lot.
Batman v Superman
Dawn of
Dawn
Justice.
of Justice. So, I kind of have an idea what you think about it.
Yeah.
But you really don't have any idea.
I have no idea what
I have not told you anything. I have not posted about this movie. I have seen it though.
I put one post up, but I really haven't said anything other than that, I don't think, to you. Because I didn't want to text you and have your thoughts go one way or the other.
It's true. Through no fault of your own, I've seen things that you liked that were anti it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Maybe you like it. But you don't know what So is it going to be Nick v. Rich? Or are we going to be on the same... Is it a Dawn of Justice within the Overbeer channel? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this movie.
So like all of our review discussions, we'll start off with a spoiler-free segment.
Yeah.
Just a brief what we thought.
And then I'll throw something at the camera, and if it doesn't break, you'll know that spoilers are about to start.
Exactly.
Let's set it up real quick.
Okay.
In case people aren't aware, maybe this is their first time watching or something. I am a huge Batman fan, as you might guess.
Yeah.
Kind of a Superman fan. Was a huge non-fan of Man of Steel.
Mhm.
Hate that movie with a passion. But overall, like Zack Snyder's movies. Was optimistic about this movie, but hesitant in my excitement.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm a Batman fan, not near to the extent that you are. Superman's never really done a whole lot for me. There's some stuff about, ish comics and stuff that I've been interested in reading, but I've never really been all that interested in the character. I don't care for Man of Steel very much. There's a couple things I like about that movie, but not enough for me to ever want to go back and watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't necessarily expecting this movie to be bad, but I really wasn't looking forward to it. It was like, okay, I'm gonna see it. Let's see what DC can
Sure.
do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, big fan over here. What'd you think?
All right, let's just get right into it. I think for the most part, this movie is pretty blah. I don't, as of now, hate it like I hate Man of Steel.
Mhm.
It's not a good movie.
No.
That much I can say. It is not a good movie. But I like some aspects of it. And before we get into spoilers, I'll say I really like Batman. I really like Alfred. I thought Wonder Woman has potential. I think people are going a little bit over the top with she steals the movie and stuff. She's fine.
Yeah.
She's fine. Anything with... Apparently it's not Gal Gadot. It's Gal Gadot.
Oh, is that how you
say
pronounce
her
it?
name. Yeah.
Okay.
So I like Gal Gadot better, maybe because we've been saying it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's her name, Gal Gadot. Before she becomes... It's not even a spoiler. It's in the trailer, right? She's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's in this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's a spoiler somehow for you. Every scene she's in before that is just kind of like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She's cool looking as Wonder Woman. It's in a pretty poor fight scene
Yeah.
that, kind of a lot of it, the coolness is taken away. I'm excited for her solo movie. I'm excited for a solo Batman movie whenever that might happen. But this movie, The Dawn of Justice, it does nothing to either get you excited or, in my opinion, unexcited about a Justice League movie. It leaves me in the exact same position where I'm just kind of like, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Most of my issues with the movie, I'll save for spoilers, but how about you?
I think this movie's a mess. Like you, there's some things in this I really like. There's certain moments, I really like Jesse Eisenberg in this. I like I think Ben Affleck's great as Batman. I like most of the Batman stuff, with the exception of one portion of the movie, which I'll save for spoiler stuff. Jeremy Irons is great. I like kind of the direction they've taken Lois Lane for the most part of actually seeing her do some real some of the real journalistic stuff, and their relationship I think works pretty well.
Like what?
Like she's going out and she's trying to figure out these stories, and
But
she's not just like a side character for Superman.
There's a scene early on where she's in Africa,
Yeah.
where she is doing journalistic stuff, that everything that happens there is nonsense,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I still think that they made her... She is both very smart, as we know from Man of Steel. Spoilers for Man of Steel, she figures out who Superman is.
Yeah.
But, like, they still have her do, like, some really dumb stuff in this movie. Like,
That's fair.
there's a key thing where she kind of throws something away and then goes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some reason that you don't even know, decides maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to go back and get it.
She has her there's some things about her I like, and there's some things that obviously are issues. I still think Henry Cavill's
He's fine.
he's
right?
fine. Like he's a fine,
It's
very
just-
fine Superman. I don't have any problems with him.
I think I've made a decision
Mhm.
about overall how I feel about Superman.
Okay.
He's a super uninteresting character that makes telling a good story on film or almost any medium almost impossible. And you know who I think likes Superman even less than I do?
Zack Snyder?
Yes.
Yep.
I don't understand why a man who clearly has no interest in Superman has made 2 Superman movies. They still were considering this movie Man of Steel 2.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care about Superman.
Nope.
And
All right, let's save some for spoilers.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, I like her for the most part. She's got to work on her lines before she gets to her Wonder Woman movie. There's some moments like
I almost didn't believe the way she was talking.
Like I couldn't tell. Like I've never seen her. I've never seen the Fast and Furious movie she's been in, so I don't know if that's how she typically is.
That's not how she talks in the... Like, she is of Israeli descent,
Yeah.
the actual actress. But she doesn't talk in, I guess that was her normal accent. And
Okay.
it was really in those movies. That's all I've ever seen her in. And I was kind of wondering, like, is she putting on is she actually going to talk like that in, like,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman in the entire movie? Or was she putting on an accent for that party, like, for Bruce Wayne? Like, to hide who she is? Or does she really...
Oh, well, now we're getting into the spoiler
Right.
sources.
Well,
So
kind of.
let's just. You think it's blah. I think it's a mess.
It is a mess. It is a mess.
I would be curious to see the ultimate cut or whatever they're going to call it.
We
but-
will, July 16th.
But other than that, I have zero interest in ever revisiting this movie. I
Yes.
think I don't hate it. I like this more than I like Man of Steel, but I don't particularly care for the movie all that much.
What I was thinking the whole time is this movie is not fun at all to watch.
Nope.
Not one bit. And like it's too serious about itself. And I don't have an issue with, like, my favorite comic book movie of all time is The Dark Knight. Super serious movie, right?
Yeah.
But it has the story to justify
Mm-hmm.
the tone. This movie, it's just like, why are you taking yourself so serious? And to what you said about Eisenberg, I enjoy Eisenberg's performance when you think about it isolated.
Mhm.
In the context of the movie, it was like Captain Jack Sparrow was thrown into The Godfather 2. It's like he is not in the same movie.
He reminds me
At all.
what he sort of seemed like to me is almost if you took like Heath Ledger's Joker and took off the makeup and tried to have him function in normal society. Like he has that like very kind of twitchy, like insanity, brilliance, always like 3 steps ahead playing everybody. Like it's just that kind of that didn't quite.
The movie's just not smart enough for how they're portraying him.
Yeah.
And his performance for how the movie is just out of place to me.
Okay.
And that's not a fault of him. He
No.
delivers a good performance. It's just not the right performance for the movie, and that's something that where I defended Zack Snyder for Man of Steel because I thought it was all story. That's the kind of thing where, as the director, you should be like, this isn't working in the context of this
Yeah.
movie. But let's get into spoilers,
Okay,
because
so
that's where the most of this...
From here on out, spoiler territory. Nothing is off limits, so this is your warning. A lot of people have seen this already. If you haven't, stop. You can stop it right here and go see it and come back and watch the rest of this. So spoilers. Where do you want to start first? Where in this giant heap of mess do you want to...
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
We had heard, I think we might have even talked about it in a news segment at one point, that that they were going to have the Waynes, the parents, die and all of that. I hated the way that this movie opens. I hate that we saw that sequence again.
Yeah.
How many times do we need to see them get killed?
And like even you have it's like and he falls in the well and he like lifts up through the bats. Like literally, like my buddy and I like go with each other and we're like, we're 5 minutes in, like what the hell is gonna happen for the rest of this movie? Like, and then he's like, and that's when the dream did this, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll give that to you. But
I saw it with, like, I thought it looked stupid, dream sequence or not. There are great visuals in this movie. That was not one of them. That was stupid. And I saw it with Dana from Dana Explains, and she turned to me. She didn't see Man of Steel. She doesn't know much about these characters. And she turned to me and she's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and I was like, it's not really happening. And she's like, oh, it's still stupid though.
Yeah, it is.
Bad way to start it, but
the whole like Rosebud.
Yeah, Martha. Which we can get to the Martha thing in a bit. Because I have very mixed thoughts on that.
Really?
And I think that might be the sequence that you hated with Batman, maybe?
I hate, that and the whole nightmare stuff.
Oh, okay. Alright, well, we'll get
Which I don't hate, I just don't think the movie handles all that very
well. We'll get to the nightmare stuff, but let's just continue on. I think, like, the next big sequence, if I'm remembering right, is that Africa sequence that we talked about. Like,
yeah.
What is the nonsense going on there? Like, so much of this movie is focused on the aftermath of people, like, of Superman. What happens?
Well, no, then you see before you get to Africa, you see Bruce Wayne going through Metropolis.
Oh yeah.
As you're watching it in that
at the end of Man of Steel.
In that car commercial looking thing.
I was so disappointed to see that because I had seen the car commercial before that uses that exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's like here's the limited edition
really
Batman
dumb.
v Superman car that you can get, and then
I was like, that looks really dumb. At least that won't be in the movie.
Then the sequence feels like a car commercial.
Because it is.
Yeah,
it's literally a commercial on television.
Yep.
But yeah, the Africa thing. So a lot of what happens with like America and the Council and all that being against, and the Senate being against the Jedi Council against Superman, is an aftermath of this event that happens in Africa where they think that he's killed all these people. They were all shot. Did they think that Superman grabbed an AK-47 and shot them? Like, why would that wouldn't be an open and shut like case? I don't even begin to understand that.
Like, it's different when you want to blame the blowing up of the Capitol on him, because that makes more sense. But to have, Superman landed and he has heat vision, but he just shot up the place.
Yeah, he grabbed a gun and he shot them. It's so stupid and it's nonsense. But the movie is just filled with these nonsensical things. Like, there's the whole thing. I mean, 45 minutes of the movie, it felt like, was just following the Scoot McNairy character in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And that was all just so useless. So pointless. Like, it happens in such a dumb way for the movie, because, and it's something that shows me that Snyder is just not interested in Superman. Because he finally gets to the Senate, right? And you think that Superman is finally going to have this big moment to give a speech to explain why he does what he does and why Superman stands for true justice in the American way, and he doesn't even say a word.
He walks in
and they just blow it up.
And
she drinks piss in a jar.
Well, see, and then you get to this. I think that scene and that moment kind of sums up how bloated and drawn out this movie is, because you get it and you show you that cup, and you know what that is. Everyone knows. You see the peach tea, just a little bit of the label, and it looks like piss. Okay, I already know what it is. Well, let's just hold on that shot for a little bit longer, and let's have her stumble. Let's turn it, just in case you didn't get. You can see that the peach tea. You gotta turn it real slowly and just hold on that for way too long. Cut to her, cut to the peach tea, cut to her, cut to piss.
I'm just surprised that they didn't like flashback to her like thinking. And flashback of him saying like, "You can piss in a jar and call it peach tea." Or
I mean, that's how it's just drawn out and spells so much out you don't need.
All right, so to keep going, it's just stuff like it's just messy. And
Yeah.
it's funny because the biggest worry that people had about this movie, right, was how are they possibly going to fit in Wonder Woman and Aquaman and the start of the Justice League and all this. And honestly, that's not what makes this movie messy, in my opinion.
No, but
At
the way
all.
they handle that's pretty terrible.
The way they handle it is awful. The way that the idea of it, I don't think is awful.
No.
I think the idea that Lex Luthor was doing research, finding these people, had that information, I think deliberately lets Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman steal it. He knows who they are at
Okay.
that point already. He literally knows who
Mhm.
Wonder Woman is. He invites her to the party and he already knows who
Yeah.
she is. He has to assume that they're going to do that. The Asian woman doesn't really try and stop them at all. I think that was all part of his plan
Mm-hmm.
because I think he wants to get these people together
I could see that.
to see them fall.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that that scene is executed,
Well,
to
then,
jump ahead,
so you, and part of my big problem with that too is you're building this tension. You're building to this fight. You're building, you're going, and the movie just screeches to a halt, and it's like, let's just check our email, and you're just, oh, is this you? Is this you? I found this photo. I found the photo you're looking for. It's not
I'm
doesn't
surprised it
belong
didn't
to
say
you.
like sent from the Batcave.
Yeah. So you open it up, and then you see why does Lex Luthor take the time to make thumbnails of all of the heroes' logos?
He made their logos for them.
I guess
He
I
has
would
a
have.
guy who did Photoshop for him. And then like, I also like that apparently, right, Wonder Woman steals the flash drive
Mm-hmm.
before Bruce Wayne can get it. And then isn't able to encrypt it, so she just goes whatever and just gives it back to him.
Yeah.
And then he encrypts it, and then he sends the files to her, and it's like, "Is this you?" Even though he knows it is.
Yeah.
He's like, "Just kidding, I know it's you." And then he does like the emoji with like the tears, laughing. And like she sees it, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And also that scene happens in the context of the movie. Lex Luthor has already like turned the dial, and it's like,
Mhm.
"You have an hour or
Yeah.
whatever to do this." She goes on this, then drives to the airport, is about to get on a plane, decides not to, gets into her costume, all before, in that span of an hour.
Here's two other problems I have with that is Wonder Woman has an invisible jet. What is she doing getting on an airplane? Two,
Or does she have an invisible jet? We don't
she's
know.
been around. You would think so, but where is she keeping her costume then? She must have had it with her. Did she carry on her sword and her?
She goes back home and changes. She is, I mean, she is efficient with her time.
I guess.
Um,
But then you've got the logos, and it's like it would have been different if you had just like, okay, clearly the file name that says AQ is like, you just need those little file names. It's like, okay, Lex Luthor's seeing it. You maybe show you've already seen the Flash at this point, which we'll go jump back to in a minute. And then you see her file. She opens it up, whatever .ww. You don't need the logos in there. Opens it up. Cool. You could maybe show the Cyborg security footage or whatever they consider it, and then just end it there. That Aquaman reveal is so
terrible
stupid.
when he plays peekaboo.
Yeah. What's this? What's this?
The Flash one's the most cliched way of introducing the Flash.
Yeah.
He looks stupid. He looks bad. He looks like a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Like a homeless hipster.
And I like Ezra Miller a lot,
I do too.
but that
And the Flash costume, that thing when he pops out of the computer,
mm,
talks to Bruce Wayne, that is stupid looking. That needs to change real quick.
unless it was some kind of like special suit that helped him. I don't know.
And I have to see it again. I don't know what he's talking about in that scene.
Well, he comes through and he says like Lois is the key. Do you want to jump back to all that flashback stuff
Yeah, sure,
first, or do you
sure.
want to finish our rant with the
about
the
sure,
files
yeah,
and
sure.
Aquaman? And
Yeah, we can finish that.
So I think the Cyborg one works.
It's alright.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
A buddy of mine pointed out that guy can't get the guy who's running.
Joe
can't-
Morgan.
Yeah, he can't catch a break with technology.
No.
But that Aquaman, like I can't get over how bad that Aquaman scene is. I swear I thought he was gonna pop out with
Right.
that spear.
With Lois.
Yeah, I was like,
absolutely.
I was
that would
waiting-
have been awesome. That would have been cool. It would have been cool. Like if they
Depends
if
how
he's
they-
drawn there by everything that's going on.
yeah,
It's still on a bay. Like they established that they're like a bay is part of the ocean. that they're separated. Metropolis and Gotham are separated by water.
They're just like right across. It's like a 2-minute drive from one
to the light.
Yeah. But I was seriously like, did you lose something? Cool, thanks. I'm Aquaman. Have a good day. And
if they had had him be a badass part of that fight with Doomsday, wouldn't that have been at least a bit like? All that we know for Justice League is there are 3 characters that we saw in thumbnails on a thing and little videos, and none of them were impressive.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking about when it's like, we have no further reason to be excited for Justice League.
Yeah.
I have no reason really to be unexcited. I'm not like, besides the fact that this movie's a mess, the same people are making it, blah blah blah. But I'm still gonna be like, it could be good, it could be bad, but I'm not excited for it.
No, I'm not.
And that's the whole point of this movie, is to get you excited for it. It's the dawn of the Justice League.
Yeah. So do you want to jump to the
nightmare
stuff?
Sure.
So
all the nightmare stuff is trash.
Yeah. Cool. But no. So I missed the Omega symbol in that nightmare sequence. Maybe because I know I like afterwards I was like, oh yeah, they were talking about the Omega symbols in there. I had missed that the only time around. But it's never clear whether this is a nightmare that is supposed to be for this movie, or if it's building, because presumably it's building up to Darkseid and Apocalypse for Justice League.
I hope that if he somehow is seeing the future, and I don't know why he would be, right?
Why not?
Why is Bruce Wayne able to do that? You know, maybe you establish that somebody's trying to send him stuff from the future or whatever. I hope that if that was a vision of what they have planned for Justice League, they scrap it. Because that stuff was stupid looking.
Yeah.
The demon things flying around and Batman shooting people with a gun, and just stop it, knock it off, get a new
But
vision.
then he wakes up from that vision.
Right.
And then the Flash comes in. And again, it's another thing where it's like, it sounds like they're talking about this movie where they're saying, Lois is the key, blah, blah, blah. And you think, oh, okay, well,
Did you realize that was the Flash when you were watching it?
Yes.
Okay.
Only because I knew that was I could tell it was Ezra Miller. And
I thought he looked like an Asian guy. I knew it was the Flash because it was the only thing that made sense from like a comic mindset.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it looked like Ezra. To me, it didn't look like Ezra.
Well, then even like my buddy was with me was just like, is that the Flash? Like, and I was like, yeah.
I mean, it was. We know it was now. But like, it's not clear to like. That's not going to get anyone else excited unless you either know that it was Ezra Miller or you know that it could only make sense for that to be the Flash, because he looks nothing like the Flash.
But see, that's my point. Is it's both of those sequences, which presumably seem to be building up to the bigger threat, the looming threat of Darkseid and all that stuff for the Justice League, isn't clear. It's not clear that that's part of the bigger picture, or is it part of that? Is it like, I'm like, okay, so Lois is the key, so something's going to happen, and she's, Bruce Wayne or Batman's going to be in a position where he may or may not accidentally kill Lois trying to fight Superman. She may get in the way, and if he does that, then this is going to cause everything. This nightmare that he saw. But that situation doesn't present itself in this movie. So so you can assume that they're talking about the Justice League, but it's unclear.
I mean, they start filming that movie in like 2 weeks. I hope it's back to the drawing board. I don't want that movie to feel like this movie.
Yeah.
At all. Like, I don't want it to be so serious. I don't want it to just be an Avengers clone.
Like, I don't mind it being serious, but like, it just doesn't. It just feels like so bloated for how long and all the stuff they're trying to say with it. And like, it's interesting. Like, okay, it's a very kind of, Watchmen. Who's policing? Who are these people that come in and try to save and blah 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 blah.
I like the core concept of why Superman thinks Batman's too over the top. I like the idea that Batman's branding the criminals, knowing that it's basically a death sentence for them in prison, but he's not the one killing them. I like the idea that I like the whole speech that Affleck gives about, if we think that there's even a 1% chance that he could turn on us, then we have to take that as an absolute certainty.
Yeah.
And like, I like that idea. I like that because that is out of the comics. Batman always has a backup plan for all of these people. Every member of the Justice League has a backup plan for what if they decide to turn. What if they turn evil? What if something turns them bad? I thought that all that was great. It's just they say it twice, and the rest of the movie doesn't actually reflect those mindsets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the actual V of the Batman v Superman.
So that was lame. Like,
Yeah.
that is not an exciting fight. And I don't know if it's because they showed so much of it beforehand. Because like, with the exception of the turning point in that fight, where it switches from them to Doomsday, you've seen all of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was having already seen it, but I just don't think it plays that. Like, I think even if we had seen it all, it should play well in the movie, and it doesn't.
See, I kind of liked the fight between them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, at that point, I'm kind of checked out of the movie, but I still enjoyed the way that they had them fight each other. But I thought that Superman didn't make enough of an effort to be like, stop, I'm here, I need my mom.
Like, literally, if he had just landed...
he's about to die.
And he's like, Lex is tricked, Luthor's behind this, stop, he's got my mom, blah, blah, blah. Real quick. He has all that time to be like, if I wanted you dead, you'd be dead already, and blah. He could have taken any of that time to say, stop. Lex Luthor's behind this. He's tricking us to fight each other. Let's team up.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. And, alright, so they fight and they fight and they fight, and then Batman wins the fight.
Yeah.
He does. He has him dead to rights. He could kill Superman right there.
Yeah.
But then Superman says, Martha! God. The fight opened. Before they throw a punch, Superman calls him Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember at what point in the movie he figured that out. I don't know.
Well, my theory on that is, because I've seen that question probably before, is he hears him talking
to put it together.
To Jeremy Irons, like, whether in the house and they're stealing the plans. I'm like, okay, so he probably has figured out at this point.
You would think, or it could have even been more simple at some point, like maybe a deleted scene, and they figure who cares if people question this right now. He has X-ray vision. He can see through Batman's mask and see it's Bruce Wayne. But he calls him Bruce. Mm-hmm. So Batman, the greatest detective in the world, should at least put together, he knows who I am, he knows who my parents were. That could be, like, when he's flipping out, like, why did you say that name?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, regardless of that isn't why, he's actually talking about his own mom. He could have been like, oh, because he knows who I am. Like, the whole, like, reaction to it is stupid. The fact that they become best buddies out of that is kind of dumb.
Well, like, we were joking after the movie, it was like, it's like a Step Brothers moment.
Yeah.
It's exactly. Like, my mom's name Martha too! Did we just become best friends?
Exactly, that's really dumb. But the thing that I liked about it, even though I think it's handled awful, is I have loved these characters my entire life. I knew that both of their moms' names was Martha, and I never put it together. And I've asked a few people, did you ever think about that? And nobody has ever, like, we've never thought about that.
See, one of the people I was with, he was like, oh, that makes sense, because I didn't remember her name being Martha. Superman's mom being Martha. But I remember when that opening scene where he goes, Martha. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's weird. That's an odd thing to...
I didn't think it was odd in the moment because he was just saying his wife's name as she's dying.
But it's like such this, like, quiet scene, and, like, that's the line that you cut to. I was kind of like, that's weird. And then later when they bring it up later, I was like, oh, okay, like, that makes sense.
And in some ways, to tie it back to what I said at the start, where, like, I can't believe they had to do the murder scene again, it makes sense because the way they tie it in, they just tie it in so poorly. It's not handled right. There are better ways that you could handle that, and there are better ways that you could have played off Batman being the one who saves her. He couldn't save his own mom. He gets to save her. Like, they could have played that better. I just can't believe that I've never considered the fact that they were both called that. I thought that was really cool, even though it's handled poorly.
Okay.
But with that said, it leads into a really cool Batman sequence where he saves her.
Yeah.
That makes no sense for Superman, from a story and a character level. It makes no sense that sequence happened, and here's why I'm saying that. I do not believe that there is any possible reason that Superman would trust him in that moment to save his mom instead of himself saving his mom. That's the character part. From a story part, it also doesn't make sense that Batman is able to go in there, have a 3-minute fight scene without the guy killing the mom,
Yeah.
and still saves her. And you're telling me that Superman couldn't just flown through that brick wall, grabbed her, and went out in 2 seconds, and still gotten to Lex in plenty of time? Like, it doesn't make sense that Batman is the one who does that at all, besides the fact that you get to have a cool... What would have made more sense if Lex, who has figured this all out, steps and steps ahead, you do the same sequence, except for Lex has not just taken Superman's mom and brought her back to the ship where Doomsday is. He's taken Alfred, and Batman has to save Alfred, because he knows who he is. That would have solved all of that. Like, it's so stupid that Batman's... Like, why would he let him go save his mom?
Because was he weakened from the fight? Maybe, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you because it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me that he would even feel the need to go...
Like, hey, person that has been trying to kill me for the last 20 minutes.
Does he only listen for Lois Lane's voice in peril? He doesn't listen for his mom's? He flies across the world to Africa to save her because he can hear it. He goes to that building when she's falling, but he doesn't listen when his mom's getting abducted by people. Don't buy it.
I don't buy it. He's distracted by that Lois Lane.
He was in the bathtub again with Lois.
Yeah. So then we get into the Doomsday fight.
Awful.
Which, a big problem I've got, even leading up to Doomsday, is, okay, so Lex Luthor, he has his fingerprints, that gets in it. Really, your fingerprints are going to get, that's the only thing. So he gets in, and the ship is like, oh, you've brought the dead body of the leader, of the captain of this ship. I guess you're the captain now. I have all the information. I have all the information in the universe, and he's just like, tell me everything. 10 minutes later, he's like, he's good to go. Mm-hmm. He's got this all figured out. He's got Doomsday growing in that sack.
Now in the comics, Doomsday, that's not how he's made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also, from the logic of how he's made in this movie, he's made using General Zod.
Yeah.
DNA, Kryptonian DNA, mixed with human DNA.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that Kryptonians have power established in these movies and in the comics on Earth that they don't have on Krypton is because of our yellow sun.
Yeah.
Doomsday is literally hatched out of a jelly egg at night and immediately has the power of Superman. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. He shouldn't even be powerful.
Yeah.
And the thing looks stupid, right? It looks like an orc out of The Hobbit.
Whatever. Like, on the look of it, I was like, yeah. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it.
It's just people fighting the dumb looking.
I also don't really have much of a reference for Doomsday prior to that, so I was like, whatever. Like, that's what you're fighting. Okay, fine.
I think when he started creating him, and I remembered, oh yeah, Doomsday's in this thing. So I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, we're leading up to the Doomsday fight, because I wasn't excited about that to begin with. But when he started hashing him, I was like, you know, why are they wasting the Doomsday storyline when you could one day do the death of Superman? Like, why would they waste that here?
Yeah.
And then they did the death of Superman, and then I was like, oh, that's why they wasted it, because they actually did it, and they wasted it. It's so... There is not one emotion felt at his death, right?
Nope, not a single thing. I was like... Well, I was more just confused. I'm like, are they really going to do this now?
It's like the end of, without spoiling it, the end of Star Trek Into Darkness. You never believe that anything is in peril.
Yeah. But then, then it goes on. Like, the movie ends like 5 times.
Yes.
And it goes, and then it cuts back to this scene, and it cuts back to Lois by the grave, but then Lois is somewhere else, and then it cuts all this like time jumping, and I'm like, okay, fine. All right, and I was like, okay, they're gonna leave him dead. That's interesting. So maybe the Justice League Part 1 is them resurrecting him. Then you could do a Death of Return to Superman type thing, or you could have made Man of Steel 3 or whatever, the Death and Return of Super, some kind of an adaptation of that.
Instead, he's just coming back, I'm assuming, very early on in Justice League Part 1.
But see, and that's the weird thing. So we have this movie, we have Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League Part 1. Mm-hmm. And this movie ends with, like, the dirt rising, and Superman, clearly he's still alive, he's about to burst out of the thing. So where do you go in Justice League at this point? Because we already know he's alive. How do you catch up on, oh yeah, remember that ending scene in Superman? Well, here's 5 years after that, and Superman's walking, like, where do you go from there? Like, there's no place to pick that up. That really makes sense.
Yeah, it's such a meaningless way to do that Death of Superman, in my opinion. I don't know where they go in Justice League. I don't know where it picks up, if it picks up. And the thing is, like I said, it doesn't leave you caring. Like, I
No.
don't care where they go. I'll see it.
Yeah.
I'll be there, sure. I want more Ben Affleck as Batman. And we're not going to get a solo film before that happens, that's for damn
Yeah.
sure. What did you think of Wonder Woman? The actual
Wonder
when
Woman.
Wonder Woman.
When she's Wonder Woman. I think she's cool. I like that she actually, does stuff in the fight. She does more than Batman in that
Batman
fight.
doesn't do anything in the fight. Batman has one cool scene avoiding.
Yeah,
Ricochet.
and then he shoots the krypton gas, and he's just like kind of like behind that brick wall, just like. I like that meme going around too, where it's like they're in the middle of the fight, and there's like Batman behind the wall, kind of waving. He's just like, "Hey guys, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I helped. See, I did a thing."
Yeah, but what could he do to that thing?
No, and that's true. Like it's not like he really could have done much other than use the krypton gas on it. But no, I think she's cool. I like that we kind of see a lot of her power. So you have the lasso.
You get to see the lasso. You get to see,
and
whole
she
thing.
holds her own really well against it. Like it's
the best thing about her in that fight, and it's too brief.
Mhm.
I think it is really brief for a movie so bloated that the fight with the three of them in the same fight scene, it's too short. But what you get to see of her is it's like she's having fun doing
Yeah.
it. Not just Gal Gadot, but the character.
Mhm.
The character is enjoying fighting.
She's
this
like, all right, I'm
creature.
having it out with this thing. She's slashing at it. She's going for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting and it's cool to watch.
And that's what I mean. Like, this dawn of justice is like yawn of justice, excitement for these other two solo films, one of which we don't know when we're going to get.
Yeah, I don't really care about the Justice League. I am more excited about Batman and Wonder Woman. Like, they're solo films. Justice League, I don't really care.
Any other thoughts on anything in this movie?
Not that I can think of offhand. I think we've covered most of my issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of issues in it, but
Yeah. There's alright, so
Okay.
a lot of people have been, I've seen a lot of posts, even from people who don't like it, saying things like, this is the best on-screen version of Batman, this is the
Mhm.
best on-screen, Ben Affleck's the best Batman. How do you feel about that?
he's definitely up there. I mean, even like my girlfriend who hates Batman is like, I've never liked Batman until seeing Ben Affleck as Batman. And seeing that portrayal of him made me like the character and kind of interested in it.
I should not like Batman.
She thinks he's a whiny little bitch.
Oh my goodness.
He kind of is.
I disagree.
Liking the character, but
Okay.
I think he's. Keaton will always be my Batman. But
For me, when I still to this day when I think of Batman, I think of the animated series.
okay,
But I'm always open to new interpretations.
so as far as live action Batman, then
maybe, because one thing that, even though it didn't bother me, I hated how people made such a joke of the Batman voice in the Dark Knight movies, right?
Yeah.
It takes you out of it because you think about all the jokes.
Mhm.
And I mean, yeah, there's all the sad Batman stuff, sad Ben Affleck stuff, all that. But like, I really think that he was complete, because he is an awesome Batman, and you get to see the flashes of why he's going to be an awesome Bruce Wayne. I don't think that he does a lot in this movie. I don't think there's enough. That's why a solo movie's really going to sell it. But that was kind of the one thing. It was like, Michael Keaton made a really cool Batman, and Bruce Wayne, you don't really buy it. You don't believe that he's the playboy when you really think about it. Love the movie. Val Kilmer was kind of a so-so both. I don't hate that movie. George Clooney's a terrible Batman. He is Bruce Wayne in real life. But nobody has ever, what I'm saying is nobody has put both together. I think he put both together.
See, like even Bale, like I always think he's a good Bruce Wayne, but he isn't a great.
See,
Batman.
I think the other way around.
Really?
When I think of those movies, I think that they didn't really. They got the heart of what is at the emotion of Bruce Wayne, but the Bruce Wayne billionaire.
Yeah, you don't see that aspect.
He just the way that they portrayed it was smart, for that version of the story, they portrayed him as hating being that. Like that was his costume. Bruce, and that is out of the comics, but like that wasn't. It didn't sell it totally for me.
Okay.
I really think that potentially this is the most complete version.
And
But there's not enough for me to say that yet.
On the voice thing, I do like how they handled that in this with like, oh, it's like a modulator.
Yes.
So it's not like Ben Affleck or something. They're trying to growl or do anything. Like it's just his voice is
I
being
really
changed by
love when Superman had broken his helmet and it was going in and out.
Yeah.
That was cool. That is a really smart way of doing it. I don't have an. I kind of like the costume. People don't like. Some people.
Yeah, I
don't
think the
like
costume's
costume.
fine.
I would be okay though if there's a new version of the costume, and they always do that. The Dark Knight trilogy, every movie had a slightly different costume. So if it
I
changes,
like
I'd be fine too.
how much of a jack of all trades Alfred is too in this. He's like, oh yeah, now I'm working on the car and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and he's really kind of built up more of a different relationship than we saw like in Dark Knight.
He's definitely a different. It more harkens back to the Batman Earth 1, which is a different version of the Batman story that they've recently done. It's kind of like that version of Alfred. I thought he was cool.
Yeah,
I liked the performance. I would have liked one really good Michael Caine Alfred moment where he got to tell like a really like a story.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Kevin Costner moment? Because Kevin Costner in Man of Steel, I thought he was one of the best parts. It surprised me. I wasn't excited for him as Pa Kent. I thought he was wasted here. I think he tells a 4-minute story that I have no idea what he was talking about.
I think he's fine in it, but I don't see the point of having him there.
They
I was like, oh, is this when we're going to see where he's going to...
really great moment where he talks to me as another one of those father-son moments. And instead he told some like nonsensical story. And the scene was over. I was like, what?
I was waiting for this to bring about his lair, whatever, the...
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, Fortress of Solitude. It was like, oh, he's out in the snow, this is where they're going to...
Speaking of the moment when I thought they were going to go there, I thought that when he was pulling that cruise ship in Antarctica or whatever, that looked real bad. Some of the CGI looks bad. It's surprising for a movie that cost like $250 million before marketing. About that Kevin Costner scene, a couple minutes into it, I was still like for the first couple minutes, I was really hoping that Russell Crowe would also show up, like because it's like it's an imaginary scene, right? He's just thinking about it. And I thought he was odd. Those two were my favorite. The only things maybe that I like about Man of Steel.
Yeah, like all of the flashback stuff in Man of Steel is the part that I like about Man of Steel. Like
if
that.
they had both been together in that scene, I would have lost my shit. But instead, it was just a nonsense story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did like the score.
Yeah, the score's good.
Visually, the movie's good, looking for the most part.
Yeah, I mean it's shot well.
Of course, I mean that's what Snyder does. Another thing, what I do appreciate about even now what Zack Snyder did in this is, I think it is a flawed, if not wrong, interpretation of a lot of these characters, but he is trying something new with all of these characters. He's not doing exactly like he has a vision. I don't think that this movie's a mess because they didn't know what they were doing. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I just think that what he's doing I don't like.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that he is trying to do... They so easily could have literally tried to replicate what Marvel did. Literally make the Justice League exactly like the Marvel movies, and they aren't. It just doesn't work, but I appreciate that they're trying.
Yeah, but I appreciate they're trying, but it's not working.
It's not working.
I have no... Like, when you do Marvel... regardless of things, but when you get to the Avengers, you've had a movie with all these characters. You have an attachment to these characters, and you've earned that Avengers movie. This doesn't feel like you've really earned these moments with these characters. You're just kind of like the only thing that I really posted online after this was this movie felt very hey guys, we've got don't forget we have a cinematic universe too. Look at us, we got this over here. We're building it. Don't worry. We got it.
The interesting thing, though, is, like, now the way... I thought that they were really going to establish Aquaman and Flash and Cyborg in this movie. And now I think Justice League Part 1, I think is literally... And Part 2 doesn't come out until 2 years later. They're not filming them back-to-back.
Jeez.
I think part 1 is literally going to be the Blues Brothers getting the band together. I think that is
Well, that's
going
what
to be
they've
the
kept-
long road that establishes that brings them into the fold.
They've kept talking, or I've seen things like, oh yeah, it's taking notes from Seven Samurai.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, like, but see, why waste your time if you're gonna do that there? You don't need these cheap moments in this movie.
They should have cut that stuff, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it doesn't work. And even, if you want to use the Flash warning as like a build-up to the next movie, or to the Justice League and Darkseid, that doesn't work either. And at the end, like...
Because nobody knows that's the Flash. Like, and the people that do are not excited. Like, was somebody excited about seeing that happen? If you're excited about seeing that happen, then you don't watch the Flash TV show. It's not cool.
Well, then,
he's just not cool.
And then you end the movie, or you end, like, Eisenberg's stuff, the Lex Luthor stuff, he's in there, the bell is rung, he's coming, whatever, alluding to something bigger, but you don't really know that. Like, there's not that, he has a Omega, something about him that, the puppets are being, there's somebody bigger pulling the strings than Lex Luthor. Like, there's something bigger coming. And you don't really get that feeling. Like, it doesn't feel like they're building to something as much as they seem to want to be building.
The Marvel movies might have put them in a real tough spot on that. Because I think to show the something bigger that's coming is Darkseid.
Yeah.
And I think to show Darkseid in any type of a short tease would have literally felt too much like Thanos. Because
I
they
agree.
are very similar. And so I think that they tried to do it with those nightmare sequences, they just don't work.
But you could have done something, like a Hydra type thing where it's like, there's this little symbol keeps popping up. And you allude to it, but you don't ever really get into it. Okay, so this is a bigger thing that's coming. Like, there's ways to do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Without copying it and showing, Darkseid turning around and shaking his fist at the camera.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't do its job in both the Batman being the Superman is not cool enough.
Nope.
This Dawn of the Justice is not cool enough. The movie doesn't do its job.
Nope.
But it has a cool Batman.
Yeah. It's got a promising Wonder Woman and a really cool Batman.
Mm. And maybe one day somebody will make a Superman movie for Henry Cavill that likes Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
I liked Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, he's good. That was another thing someone, my friend brought up. He was like, you went through the destruction with Zod. There's more problems in the city. Why are you still in the building? Why are these people still in the... Why are they like, well, let's not get destroyed. Let's not risk that. Let's leave. Instead of, we're just going to stay here and hang out. But I like the points that they make, like on the news. It's like, everybody has gone home for the work day. So there aren't any people in the area. Oh, they're landing on this uninhabited island. So there's nobody around to die.
Oh, they had to keep telling us that. Superman took him to space.
Yeah, which was actually kind of...
I enjoyed that.
I thought it was cool.
That was more subtle, because if you know the whole thing about, like, the whole debate over why did he take him into the city, like, it's not so, like, oh, he's taking him into space this time. They don't make a point of it, but then they keep having a point of saying, like, having Anderson Cooper go, at least everybody's off of work, so they're not...
Oh, they brought it out, and the president says they're out of the radiation zone, and they're out of the danger stuff. I'm like...
That's enough.
But... So, those are our thoughts on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
If people are still watching this who didn't see it,
yeah,
but they just wanted to hear us talk, they don't care about spoilers,
yeah,
would you say that it is a worthwhile experience to still go to this movie, or should they just skip it? Because somebody asked me this at work today, should I just wait for video? Or should I go see it? And I was like, no, if you're going to see the movie, you should still see it. If you're ever going to see it, go see it in the theater.
Yeah, you might as well.
It's a great big movie. Big explosion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you
just
don't have to see this movie.
Expectations.
Yeah, just don't go in expecting something amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
So that's our review.
That's our review. Thanks for sticking around with us. It's a little on the longer side, but
so's the movie.
Yeah, we're nice and bloated, just like the movie we're reviewing. If you want to follow both of us on Twitter, you can find me at Rich Belson.
I'm at Stonks.
Channels at OABeer_official. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/overbeer. You can also email us at overbeerofficial@gmail.com. We're on Instagram now too, over_a_beer. We have YouTube. Obviously, you're watching this through YouTube. We don't have a custom YouTube URL, so if you like this video, please share with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Then we can get you guys a custom YouTube URL to actually, promote. But I guess it's going to wrap things up for today. I'm sure we'll be talking more about Batman and Superman, Justice League, DC, comic books, all that good stuff in the coming weeks. So until next time, drink up.